Good morning. We invite you to join us for our Yom HaAtzmaut morning service. We'll begin in our Siddur on page 551, and I will shortly give some further instructions how the service will be structured. Al hadvash ve'al ha'oketz, al hama ve'hamatok, al biteinu hatinok shmo Eli hatov, al ha'esh hameru'eret, al hamayim hazakim, al ha'ish hashaf habayta min hamerakim, al kol the honey and the sting, the bitter and the sweet, and our baby daughter, the burning flame, the pure water, and the man returning home from afar. Keep all of these safe, my good God, the honey and the sting, the bitter and the sweet. Do not uproot what has been planted. Do not forget the hope. Return me, and I will return to the good land. Al kol ele, al kol ele, shmona li Eli hatov, al hadvash ve'al ha'oketz, al hama ve'hamatok. Yom HaAtzmaut Sameach. Happy Israeli Independence Day.
Happy birthday, Israel.
Happy birthday, Israel. Welcome to our morning service. This is a combination of a regular morning service to be found in our Siddurim in the beginning on page 51 and the following pages. But it is also a kind of a festival service. My teacher, Rabbi Tovia Ben Chorin, who fought also in the Israeli Yom Kippur War, always explained why Yom HaAtzmaut for him and so many Israelis is really a festival day, which can be compared or should be actually elevated to the same level as Purim and Hanukkah, those minor or semi-festivals we celebrate throughout the year as a reminder of how in the past, thousands of years ago, the fate of the Jewish people changed through an historic event. And I think this is something which we should also have in mind, and this is what he taught us when we remember and when we celebrate the establishment of the modern state of Israel. This was a major step in the 2000 years of history of the state of Israel, of the Jewish people, after the destruction of the Second Temple, and this major shift from the Jewish people from the land of Israel into the diaspora. Now, with the establishment of the state of Israel, a new shift happened. And perhaps I would say today, reflecting on the situation we're living today, to a balanced situation between diaspora and Eretz Yisrael was established. As I also always remind all of us, on Purim and in Hanukkah, those festivals are not without critic, and they should be not only seen as happy celebration days, but we always need to remember that this came with a cost of lives. And remember what we did on Pesach when we reminded ourselves of the 10 plagues, that we dipped a little bit of the joy, which is represented by the wine, on our plates, that we took a little bit of the joy away because we were reminded by this that human lives were given in so that a next step could happen, that the Jewish people were redeemed. And I think it is also important that this modern state of Israel is far away from being perfect. We as progressive Jews have a lot to say when we reflect on the modern state of Israel, that there is not equality between the different Jewish streams, that we as progressive Jews have to rally up in support for the progressive movement there, for the reform movement there. We have to give our voices to those who are not in the front line when it comes to making their voices heard. There is still inequality in situations of women, of men, of the gay community, of the marginalized communities. That we often forget to mention. The refugee situation is not a good one, and we need to remember this as well. This is our Jewish democratic state as well, and we as Jews of the diaspora have a right to make our voices heard.
And an obligation.
And we have an obligation, as Chaim said. So today we will celebrate, we will enjoy that there is a state of Israel which changed the fate of the Jewish people in our times significantly, and we're happy that the state is there. And tomorrow we continue also to give our input in what can be made better, so that in our times we will see a Zionist vision of a state that reflects all the values of the Jewish people in its diversity. For now, I'd like to invite you to join us on page 51 with the Psalm 100, which is the psalm of expressing our gratefulness, our thanks to the Eternal. On page 51, Mizmor LeTodah. Mizmor LeTodah, Hariu l'Adonai kol ha'aretz ivdu et Adonai besimcha, bo'u lefanav berina, du ki Adonai hu Elohim, hu asanu velo anachnu, amo v'tzon marito, bo'u sha'arav betodah, chatzerotav betehila, hodu lo, ברכו שמו כי טוב אדוני לעולם חסדו ועד דור הדור אמונתו. God's steadfast love is eternal. God's faithfulness is for all generations. We continue with Psalm 150 to be found on page 55, and if you're using the online edition, just please add 20 page numbers.
Hallelujah, 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 el bekodsho, hallelujah, bekiyahuzo, hallelujah, bikmotav, hallelujah, kerov gudlo, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. נשמה תהלליה, הללו, הללויה, הללו, 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 הללויה, הללו, 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 הללויה.
Return to page 60 for the opening of the section of the Shema. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, יוצא אור ובורא חושך, עושה שלום ובורא את הכל, המאיר לארץ ולדרים עליה ברחמים, ובטובו מחדש בכל יום תמיד מעשה וראשית. מה רבו מעשיך אדוני, כולם בחוכמה עשית, מלאה הארץ קנייניך, תתברך אדוני אלוהינו, על שבח מעשה ידיך ועל מאורי אור שעשית יפרוך, סלע. אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכיחו לנו מהרה לאורו.
ברוך אתה אדוני יוצא המאורות.
אהבתנו אדוני אלוהינו, חמלה גדולה ותרחה חמלת עלינו. באהבו אבותינו, באהבו אמותינו, שבטחו בך, ותלמדם חוקי חיים. כן תכוננו תלמדנו, המרחם רחם עלינו, ותן בליבנו להבין ולהשכיל לשמוע, ללמוד וללמד, לשמוע ולעשות, ולקיים את כל דברי תלמוד תורתך באהבה. אלינו בתורתך, ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך, ויחל לבבינו לאהבה וליראת שמך, ולא נבוש ולא ניכלם ולא ניכשל לעולם ועד, כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא בטחנו, נגילה ולשמחה, נגילה ולשמחה בישועתך. והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ, ותוליכנו כממיות לארצנו, כי אגואל ישועות אתה, ובאנו בחרת וקרבתנו, לשמך הגדול צלע באמת, להודות לך וליחדך באהבה.
ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה.
שמע
ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך והקשחתם לעוד על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך.
If you will indeed obey the commandments which I enjoin you on this day, loving and serving the Eternal One, your God, with all your heart and soul, then I will provide the rain your land needs, the early and the late rain, in due season. You will gather in your grain, your wine and your oil. I will give grass in your fields for your cattle, and you will eat and be satisfied. Page 67. Take care not to be lured away, to serve other gods and to worship them, for then the Eternal One will be roused to anger against you and shut up the heavens so that there is no rain and the ground does not yield its produce. And then you will quickly perish from the land which the Eternal is giving you. Therefore impress these words on your heart and soul. Bind them as a sign upon your hand and let them serve as a symbol between your eyes. Teach them to your children, speaking of them in your home and on your way, when you lie down and when you rise up. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Then you and your children may continue to live in the land which the Eternal solemnly promised to your ancestors, as long as the heavens are above the earth. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף בתל תכלת, היה לכם לציצית, וראיתם אותו, וזרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו
ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיהם. אני אדוני אלוהיהם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Page 71.
We are Israel, witness to God's covenant. We are Israel, forbidden to worship power. We are Israel, prophets of a vision for all. We are Israel, schooled in the suffering of the oppressed. We are Israel, trying to beat swords into plowshares. We are Israel, teaching sacred words from Torah. Hate evil and love what is good. Let justice flow as a mighty stream. We are Israel, proclaiming your truth, as we did on the shores of the sea.
time of the Amidah, and I'd like to invite you, while you're reading the Amidah, while you're reciting this wonderful prayers of the Amidah, to read it perhaps a little bit as a history story or a story of the Jewish people, and you will find a strong connection between God, the people of Israel, and the land of Israel. And perhaps we can also see how in the past our ancestors were given the land, were accompanied by God in their journey to the land, and then when the land was taken away from our ancestors, how the hope was the driving force of keeping the Jewish people together. And perhaps at the end you can see in the blessing of the Modim, the acknowledgement of our thanks to the Eternal, and also in the Sim Shalom prayer, that we are part of that journey and that we contribute to that step, to the Messianic time, that we all have it in our hands to bring to our time and the generations after us this idea of redemption, of wholeness, to be one people with God, with a connection to the one land.
Adonai sefatai tifta ufi agitei latecha. Adonai sefatai tifta ufi agitei latecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואמהות, ומביא גאולה לפני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר מושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה מטימת הרב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מזריח השמש ומוריד הטל. מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הטוב ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי לא מהלך, מלך ממיל ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמנתה להחיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים.
Page 82. נקדש את שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר,
קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ כבודו.
לעומתם ברוך יאמרו,
ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו.
ובדברי קודשך כתוב לאמור,
ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון לדור ודור. Hallelujah.
For all generations we will tell of your greatness, and for all eternity proclaim your holiness. Your praise, our God, will never depart from our mouth.
Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Now I invite you to recite your private prayers. We have a short moment for meditation. If you want, please read also along from page 84 to page 90 the blessings mentioned in our Siddur. יציר אדוני אלוהינו בעמך ישראל ותפילתם באהבה תקבל ותהי לרצון תמיד עבודת ישראל עמך אל קרוב לכל כוכב פנה אל עבדיך וכוננו שפוך רוחך עלינו ותחזינה עינינו בתשובך לציון ברחמים. Let our eyes behold your loving return to Zion. ברוך אתה אדוני המחזיר שכינתו לציון. We're now on page 94 for the Modim, and there is a little insert on page 555, which then I will read for you. Just page. מודים אנחנו לך, שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו לעולם ועד. צור חיינו מגן אישנו, אתה הוא לדור ודור. נודה לך ונספר תהילתך על חיינו המסורים בידיך ועל נשמותינו הפקודות לך ועל ניסיך שבכל יום עמנו ועל נפלאותיך וטובותיך שבכל עת ערב ובוקר וצהריים. הטוב כאילו חלו רחמך והמרחם כאילו תמו חסדיך מעולם קיווינו לך. בימי שיבת ציון בימינו נקבצו בניך לבנות ולהיבנות בארצך וקבעו את יום העצמאות הזה יום חג שמחה להודות ולהלל לשמך הגדול. In the return to Zion of our time, your people gathered in your land to build it up and to be built up themselves. They established this Independence Day as a festival of joy, thanksgiving, and praise to you. As you perform miracles for our ancestors, do likewise for us, saving us now as you did then. בעל כולם יתברך ויתרומם שמך מלכנו תמיד לעולם ועד. וכל החיים יודוך סלע והללו את שמך באמת האל ישועתנו ועזרתנו סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני הטוב שמך ולך נאה להודות. And Sim Shalom is on page 98. Sim Shalom טובה וברכה חן וחסד ברחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך. בחנו אבינו כולנו כאחד באור פניך, כי באור פניך נתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו תורת חיים ואהבת חסד וצדקה וברכה ורחמים וחיים ושלום וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום. Grant peace, goodness and blessing, grace, kindness and mercy to us and to all your people Israel. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses your people Israel with peace. And we're continue on the page 100 with the Oseh Shalom, and please join us.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
ואמרו
אמן.
So, as far as this was, that was the beginning and the regular morning service, a little bit shortened, I understand, but we fulfilled the obligation of saying Shema and to recite the Amidah. What we will do now is another step, which I think is very important, again inspired by my teacher, Rabbi Tovia Ben Chorin, who explained, and this is very true, that any festival has an associated text in our tradition. We read on Purim the Megillat Esther, and we have for Hanukkah the readings from the Torah about the dedication of the first Mishkan, and so we have for Yom HaAtzmaut an important reading, and this is how he would say the Megillat HaAtzmaut, the scroll of independence. So he gave by using the term Megillat, which we use only for a book of our sacred scripture, an authority to the text. Especially, he elevated the Declaration of Independence in this way to teach us and to understand that the Declaration of Independence has some very prophetic ideas, some visions for a state of Medinat Yisrael, which is important to pursue these ideas, these values. I think it is not by accident that the the Declaration of Independence actually is also the constitution or the constitutional text of the State of Israel, and then still today laws are need to reflect the ideas of the Declaration of Independence, because this text in itself has so much potential to guide us in a way of creating a democratic and open visionary state. And I think therefore it is also important that we once a while listen very carefully to the text. We have in our Siddurim the Declaration of Independence for everyone to read along, but also we have asked Fiona to read for us the declaration. Perhaps it's not by accident when we have a very fiery Zionist in our congregation, then one of the first names which come up is of course Fiona. Her Hebrew name is Tziona, so I think the link is absolutely there. So I invite you to listen to the reading of the Declaration of Independence, to be found on page 538. First, I like to begin with a quote of Herzl, which is perhaps the father figure, the founding father of the modern idea of Zionism. He says, "In tirtzu ein zo agada להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, בארץ ציון וירושלים. If you will it is no dream to be a free people in Zion and Yerushalayim." And now we listen to Fiona.
Eretz Yisrael was the birthplace of the Jewish people. After being forcibly exiled from their land, the people remained faithful to it throughout their dispersion, and never ceased to pray and hope for their return to it, and for the restoration in it of their political freedom. Impelled by this historic and traditional attachment, Jews strove in every successive generation to re-establish themselves in their ancient homeland. In recent decades, they returned in their masses. Pioneers, immigrants coming to Eretz Yisrael in defiance of restrictive legislation, and defenders, they made the desert bloom, revived the Hebrew language, built villages and towns, and created a thriving community, controlling its own economy and culture. Loving peace, but knowing how to defend itself, bringing the blessings of progress to all the country's inhabitants, and aspiring towards independent nationhood. The State of Israel will be open for Jewish immigration and for the ingathering of the exiles. The State of Israel will foster the development of the country for the benefit of all its inhabitants. It will be based on freedom, justice, and peace, as envisaged by the prophets of Israel. It will ensure complete equality of social and political rights to all its inhabitants, irrespective of religion, race, or sex. It will guarantee freedom of religion, conscience, language, education, and culture. It will safeguard the holy places of all religions, and it will be faithful to the principles of the Charter of the United Nations. In Eretz Yisrael, here, their spiritual, religious, and political identity was shaped. Here, they first attained to statehood, created cultural values of national and universal significance, and gave the world the eternal Book of Books. We extend our hand to all neighboring states and their peoples in an offer of peace and good neighborliness, and appeal to them to establish bonds of cooperation and mutual help with the sovereign Jewish people settled in its own land. The State of Israel is prepared to do its share in a common effort for the advancement of the entire Middle East. We appeal to the Jewish people throughout the diaspora to rally round the Jews of Eretz Yisrael in the tasks of immigration and upbuilding, and to stand by them in the great struggle for the realization of the age-old dream, the redemption of Israel. Placing our trust in the Rock of Israel, we affix our signatures to this proclamation at this session of the Provisional Council of State on the soil of the homeland in the city of Tel Aviv on this Sabbath Eve, the 5th day of Iyar, 5708, the 14th of May, 1948. David Ben-Gurion, Daniel Oster, Mordecai Ben-Tov, Yitzhak Ben-Zvi, Eliyahu Berlin, Fritz Bernstein, Rabbi Wolf Gold, Meir Grabowski, Yitzhak Grünbaum, Dr. Abraham Granowski, Eliyahu Dobki, Meir Vilnekovne, Zerach Warhaftig, Herzl Vardi, Rachel Cohen, Rabbi Kalman Kahana, Sadia Kobashi, Rabbi Yitzhak Meir Levin, Meir David Löwenstein, Tzvi Luria, Golda Meyerson, Nahum Nir, Tzvi Segal, Rabbi Yehuda Leib HaKohen Fishman, David Tzvi Pinkas, Aharon Zisling, Moshe Kolodny, Eliezer Kaplan, Abraham Katznelson, Felix Rosenblut, David Remes, Bel Repetour, Mordecai Schattner, Ben Zion Sternberg, Bekor Shitrit, Moshe Shapira, and Moshe Shertog.
want to use a short moment of reflection. Please join me on page 536. This is a prayer usually read at the end of the Yom HaZikaron service, where we remember the fallen soldiers and the victims of terror. But as I said in the beginning, this independence of the State of Israel came with a price, with a huge price. Every single life that was given in that journey of creating the State of Israel, the modern State of Israel, and throughout the history of the Jewish people, whenever the Jewish people fought for their independence to determine their own fate, unfortunately life was given. So when we think of them and include all those of the recent years that were victims of terror attacks, that were soldiers who stood in service to protect the land of Israel and were killed in action or killed by just being there for us to keep us and our land safe, then we honor them with the idea and the understanding that what they did for us is what we understand as Kiddush Hashem, the elevating and the sanctification of God's name. So full compassionate God on high, to the souls of those among our people who bravely gave their life for the redemption of the land, grant clear and certain rest with you on the lofty heights of the sacred and pure, whose brightness shines like the very glow of heaven. Source of mercy, forever enfold them in the embrace of your wings, secure their souls in eternity. O God, they are yours, they will rest in peace. And we say, Amen. Chaverim, it is a wonderful sentence by Albert Einstein, who said, whatever we do for the land of Israel, we do it for the honor and the well-being of the whole Jewish people. So whatever your relationship to the State of Israel is, if it is critical, if it is emotionally, if you have wonderful memories of your visit to the State of Israel, if you plan to go to Israel, do that with an open heart. Have a relevant and meaningful relationship to the State of Israel. Just don't be ignorant towards the State of Israel. Have a relationship with the State of Israel. For today, we're nearly concluded our service. We will only have one short edition, and this is a premiere, as our choir has recorded the Hatikva for us in a very wonderful way. But first, I'd like to invite you all to celebrate the State of Israel today with Yom HaAtzmaut. I know we all are still under the lockdown, but this should not prevent us from having something special for this day. So have a braai, have a barbecue, as it is also the Hebrew word for it, it's barbecue. And go outside, go into your garden, on your balconies, and just have a little celebration of the State of Israel. Take a picture or a video of it and post it in the social media with the hashtag Yom HaAtzmaut or Israel 72. We want that today the social media is flooded with joyful pictures of celebrating the birthday of Israel. Everything else as announcements, just remember that we will have, of course, our Shabbat services on Friday evening and Saturday morning, and that we all together are together in this journey. This is an interesting way of celebrating Yom HaAtzmaut, but nevertheless, I'm quite sure it is a wonderful and meaningful way. Thank you to everyone who contributed, especially to Fiona for recording for us the reading of the Megillat Atzmaut, but also to the choir. And now we'll just invite you all to listen to this wonderful recording of the Hatikva by our choir. Yom HaAtzmaut Sameach, and see you soon. Keep well, keep healthy.
Keep safe.